Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Lucy Robbins Wells Board of Trustee meeting for Monday, May 11th at 7 o'clock. We will do a formal roll call. I just want to take a few moments to go over a few helpful hints. And that is, most of these lines are muted for now, but when you do want to speak, I believe you can raise your hand. If you look in that square box where it says the panelists, you can raise your hand there. And then James will unmute your phone. Please tell us who's speaking so that Gail can continue to take accurate notes. And James, I'm going to go through, or I'm going to ask Gail to go through the roll call. So if you can do that, Gail Whitney, and just let us know that you're here.
I can't remember which number she is, so I'm going to unmute.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
might as well
Hi.
unmute everybody because she's going to do the roll call.
Yeah. Is that you, Gail?
Yeah, that's me, 4182.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Anna Eddy,
I'm here.
Laurel Goodgen, is Laurel there?
Here.
Okay, Judy Algeski, is Judy there?
Judy's
Hello,
been sending
hello.
some text messages that she's had problems, so let's go through the rest of the list and come back to her.
Okay, Pauline,
Here.
Iris,
Here.
Maureen, is Maureen there?
I believe Maureen's
Hello.
there. She's given me the try again. I'm seeing some. Maureen says she's still muted,
So does Judy.
Okay,
and Judy says she's still muted.
Maureen
okay, but they're
Lyons.
there, okay.
Yes, Maureen Lyons
Yeah.
and Judy Igelski.
Yeah, I see her
All right.
there. She just needs to accept her audio.
Leann,
Here.
I know Pam's not there, right?
Correct.
Neil?
So
Here.
Diane,
here,
Lisa Jones,
Here.
Christine,
Here.
Lee Bradley,
Here.
Lisa Maston,
Here.
Karen Benner,
Here.
Dave Nagel.
Here.
Is Chris Miner there?
Yes.
Okay,
Here.
and anybody from the friends, Brian or Kim or Natalie?
no, Kim said that
I
she
don't
was
think-
not going to attend.
Okay, so none of the friends are there. Okay, all right. And if you can keep me unmuted just in case I have a question, or how do you unmute yourself? Is it *6 or #6 or what is it?
I've got you set as unmuted.
Okay, this
Okay,
is
thank you.
Maureen. This is Maureen. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
Judy says she doesn't know how to hit the audio whatever she's doing from. I don't know if she's on a computer or a phone.
Who was it?
Judy.
Judy Igelski.
Got two numbers on the other side. Is
Oh.
this Judy?
Yes, this is Judy.
Okay,
Great.
Judy.
Thank you.
Okay, and I
we're all good.
thought I saw Paul Boutat's name.
He actually is on board to do the streaming side of it.
Okay, great. Just in case he wanted to jump in. So he's not part of public participation. He's part of infrastructure.
Correct.
Okay. And then the 485 has a hand raised. I don't know who that is.
That's me.
Okay.
I think I'm okay.
All right, great. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll go on. I don't know if the next item on the agenda is public participation. Is there anyone from the public wishing to say anything at this time?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, it's Dave Nagel. Would you like me to make a comment at this time?
So I actually have the town council liaisons as a separate line item so that we
Okay.
don't confuse things. So
Okay,
I'm just going to
fine.
wait for public participation and then town
Sure.
council will be the next thing.
I know sometimes you don't. Thanks.
Yep. I'm trying to do better now with the Zoom.
At this point, we don't have any attendees other than members of the committee.
Okay, great. So town council liaisons, Dave?
Yes, just to let you know that in terms of the library, there so far have been no changes in regard to the library. There was a small discussion about Sundays and where the funds would come from, but as far as I know, there's nothing that would affect that or would affect the proposal that was put in CIP for the library at this time. Council has, we've had a public hearing. The budget at the moment is exactly the same as what the town manager proposed. There were some changes that at the public hearing, Mayor Del Buono put forth that might happen. And there were two more chances for the council to make any suggestions or increases or decreases or movements tomorrow night, and also just before on the 19th when the final budget is passed. I don't know if Councilor Minor has anything to add to that.
Okay, I just have a follow-up question. Sorry, Dave. You said Sunday hours are under consideration still, or they don't have
Yes.
funding, or what? Under consideration?
Yes.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Chris Minor?
No, Lisa, I think Dave covered everything, and that is correct that the funding is still the same as it was submitted through the town manager, and no changes to Sunday hours at this point.
Okay, great. And this is Diane. Gail, I'm assuming you know my voice. I'll
Yes.
go to the secretary's report. Iris Larson?
I had one more I had a question. I'm sorry for Dave. You mentioned CIP. What
This
was
is
put
Leann.
forward on the CIP? I'm sorry. This is Leann.
Yeah, Dave Nagel. On the CIP, it was requested for monies to recarpet the children's area, the library, and that was left intact, and so
Okay.
far it's still there, and I don't foresee it changing, just personally.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, before I go back to Iris, any other questions for town council liaisons? Okay,
Looks like-
hearing,
Looks like
hearing,
Leann has one.
Leann, do you have another question?
No.
Okay, thanks. All right, now we'll go back to secretary's report with Iris Larson.
I have no report.
Okay, thank you. Next up would be approval of the minutes from last month's meeting. Hoping everybody's had a chance to go through those. Were there any comments or corrections?
This is Neil, Ryan. All I want to say is that Gail is doing a bang-up job with these minutes. I think they're fantastic.
Thank you very much, Neil.
Super.
This is Laurel.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, because I don't have one of those little hands to show that my hand is raised. Okay. On page 4, and thank you, Gail, for pagination. On page 4, at the bottom of the page of the minutes, I'd like to correct in the second line under B1, there are 2 different ways a board member can be selected. Town
Okay.
council appointment or selected by the library board corporation.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Anyone else? I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as revised.
So
So
moved.
moved. Judy?
Thank you, Judy. Second,
Second, Laurel.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right. Next item is the review of the annual activities calendar. And normally right now, we're looking at the 5K t-shirts and getting ready for our race. But as we know, that was postponed until October. Was there a question out there?
Oh,
Okay. So for May, you received the nominations. I'm sorry, you guys might have to mute yourselves or be a little bit more quiet near your computers and stuff. And who's ever eating or scraping a plate, that would be good if you were on mute. Okay, thank you. So again, getting back to the May calendar, the race events for this month have all been postponed until October of next year. Please pay attention to the email from Maureen with the nominations for next year and committee assignments. If you've opened that up, and I'm sure Maureen will go into it when we get to that point on the agenda, if you have any questions for that end. And I'm sure that Lisa will go through any kind of future programming or those things when we get to the director's report. So that's all I have for the activities calendar and committee assignments for now. Treasurer's report, Leann.
Hey, I sent it out on Friday and there aren't that many changes since Friday, a few things. Well, I won't go into all the details, but the money market is at 106,941.38, which is unrestricted funds. The money market restricted funds is at $7,550.31. Very, very little activity. There's some basics, mostly general expenses and subscriptions. We had no income in April. Our balance at the end of April was $20,960.27. And that includes $9,700 for race sponsorship. So keep that in mind. It also includes 2019 potential expenditures for the children's room from the 5K race in 2019. Since Friday, I had given you an update that I was still in the process of resolving the D&O coverage with this COVID-19 situation. Paperwork and signatures and things seem to go awry because I sent them one place and people are working from home, and I resubmitted on Friday. I did get notice actually after I sent this out to you that it had been processed. We do have the D&O coverage, and I got the billing by email and I paid that. So the actual balance as of the end of Friday was $20,408.30 as I did on expenditure for the $633 premium, which is elaborated on later on about how I was waiting for the bill. As to the unrestricted funding as of April 30th, the market improved after March 31st. We did see some returns come back, which was nice to see, so that our unrestricted funds were, the balances were improved. And that's about all I have for treasurer.
Thank you. Any questions for Leann? It's hard to look around the table when we're on virtual. Thank you, Leann. Next up, the library director's report. Lisa Maston.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Lisa.
So we've, Karen's going to talk more about the programming aspect of what we've been doing and what we plan on doing. And she'll talk a little bit more about some services that we've added recently. Last month, I told you about some of the online services that we've added, and we've added a few more. We did see, our circulation compared to last year was dismal, but we did, for downloadable items, we circulated about 4,700 items. And so we saw like a 65% increase in our digital audio books, 130% increase in streaming movies, and a 40% increase in the use of ebooks. So considering where we are, that's nice that people are starting to use those services. And I think that having the temporary library card has it enabled people to maybe start using the library that didn't use it before. So that's another plus for the library. We did register 66 people for a new library card once we started doing it in April, which was nice. And then, you know, during we've averaged about 35 to 40 phone calls a day that staff are answering to help assist our patrons. So, you know, we're trying to help people as much as we can. I mean, the challenge certainly is that not everybody has access to computers to download the digital material, or maybe they prefer not to. But I think the word is getting out that we do have a decent collection. And Karen will talk more about what we've done to kind of beef it up. I did attend a Zoom meeting at the end of last week with the directors of the Rocky Hill, Wethersfield, and Berlin libraries, just to kind of touch base with each other and see where everybody's at. And I think one thing that we are looking to do is start up curbside service again around June 1st. But before we do that, we are going to talk to her about our plan to the health director. But all of us are kind of on the same page as to starting it at the same time. And it would be a modified curbside service. We can't do what we did before. The turnaround time would be the person requests one day and it's ready for them the next day. And we would accept up to 5 items for adult materials and up to 10 items for children's. And then have the pickup time for at certain times of the day. We'd have designated times. And probably when we go to this new, start redoing doing the curbside service again, we would modify hours so that we would be able to hit those people that are working and have pickup, after 5 o'clock, because currently we're only open till 5 o'clock. So that's kind of what the 4 of us were talking about, the libraries in general. So we're still working on our plan. Karen, Lynn, and Sue Schneider, who's head of collection management, we're working on it. And I'll send out an email when we have finalized plans just to let you know for sure.
Super. And we're following the CDC and health department guidelines on this?
Yeah, that's why we're not going to do anything until we talk to the health director. I mean, we're already doing some of the things in general. Like we're not, when we accept returns, like items get returned, they sit for 3 days before we even touch them. And then we're going to, the way we deliver the books or hand the books off to the people will be done differently. I think everything's going to be bagged, and we're not going to touch anything, we're not going near, we haven't figured out exactly the handoff part, but it's going to be a touchless delivery kind of thing. But yeah, we're not going to do anything until Charles Brown kind of okays it, and I have to talk to the town manager about it as well. And then the other thing that we are doing is the final thing that I'll talk about is, actually 2 things. One is we ordered plexiglass for all the public service desks. So when the building does reopen, staff will have more protection. And we are working on getting additional supplies for staff for when the building does open. And obviously we wouldn't do that until the governor says that it's okay to do that. But I will say that it's not going to be the same service that we've offered in the past. That's the reality. And I'm not really sure what that's going to look like, but it's not going to be inviting people to come in and stay anymore for a while, because we have to be mindful of the numbers as well, and also everybody's safety. And then the other thing is that we did have to do an exercise, which I think everyone's aware of a 30% decrease in the budget. And that's an exercise that we hope will never come to, to pass. But if that were to go into play, it would be, the library would be a completely different library. What it comes down to is staff. It's not only the hours of the library, but it's staffing. That's where the biggest number in our budget is. And so a $500,000 decrease in our budget, it's going to be mostly staff. Hopefully that will never happen, but if it were, we would go from a staff of like 41 to maybe a staff of 17 or 18, maybe. So in that case, how many hours you'd be open, what you could do would really be diminished. So that's all I really have to say.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Any questions for Lisa?
Lisa, this is Maureen. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Thank you.
I can. Yeah.
Just for your information, starting today, Berlin has staff going back in on a staggered basis.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, that's
they've
good.
had no,
I think she had mentioned that.
no staff while we have, and they also are trying to figure out how to open their book drop safely.
Yeah, I think some libraries, they've had them locked since they closed, which I think it's going to be kind of a difficult thing for them for a while, because I would imagine they would get a ton of returns.
Oh,
we
sure.
actually have we have a system now, because the community room is not being used, we have multiple bins, and they just sit, every time we empty a bin, the bin sits in the community room, so that if there is a virus in there at all, which we hope to God there isn't, it dies before we touch the books and put them back on the shelf.
Lisa, this is Laurel.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say how pleased I am that you've met with the other library directors, and how wonderful it will be if you are able to begin curb service again. Thank you.
Yes, I think it will be too. Yeah.
This is Neil. Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you mentioned that the town manager has to propose 30% decrease. Did he ask all department heads to do the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he asked us all.
Okay.
And it's not something that is going to happen, but it could, depending on, there's always that possibility if things were really bad in town, but it was a very difficult exercise to do. So, and I think all the departments felt the same way.
Thank you. That's perfect.
Okay, any other questions for Lisa? No? Lisa, again, I just want to commend you and the staff for constantly rolling with the changes that are going on here and trying to figure out how we can still serve our community in this new world that we're living in these days. So many thanks. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, and I would like,
yes,
I'd like to add too that the staff, they really have been wonderful, and they are thinking outside the box. I mean, that's what, you have to go with the flow, and sometimes obviously the way we used to do it, we can't do. So now they're all coming up with different ideas, and it's been really wonderful to see, and everyone's working really well as a team. So, we have a great staff.
super. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Next up is Karen Benner with the Assistant Library Director's Report.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. I hope you're all well. I'm going to kind of jump on where Lisa left off with some of the streaming services. So within the last month, we have added Quello Concerts, which it consists of their full-length concerts and music documentaries. We have also added IndieFlix, and that's a streaming movie service. Got a lot of different, their pop culture favorites and featured films and documentaries. And both of those services work with the 7-day pass that you take out for, well, you take it out for 7 days, but it's similar to Acorn TV. It's the same platform. So as Lisa said, we're just trying to offer, as much as we can online to reach people. So Michelle and I did a little promotional video with the chamber. They do these little videos called chamber check-ins. So I think it might have been up on like the What's Happening page, but it was just sort of letting people know what we're doing, even though the building is closed. So that was kind of fun to do. We've also been working with staff on arranging, like, we're focusing on a lot of the virtual programming. So the children's department, reference, Michelle Royer in particular, are all looking at what we can do virtually. So we have been kind of working hard on that, trying to get some things in place for June, and then even more for July and August. Some of them will be through, Zoom. We have, as you know, a YouTube channel. We're probably going to use Facebook Live. So all that is going on behind the scenes right now. Let's see. We have also offered staff some online training, staff development and training. So all staff has been able to partake in that. And lastly, we're also collaborating with NCTV in terms of the virtual programming. So they are going to put up a lot of our programming. We're probably going to have maybe particular, like Thursday evening and, Wednesday morning for the library. And that's going to include like children's story time, some adult programming, whatever it is. We do have one of our staff has done a yoga program for us that something like that will probably go there. So we're just trying to get it out in as many different ways as possible to reach as many different people. And Michelle has been collaborating with Parks and Rec and the Senior Center and Human Services. We had a meeting probably a couple of weeks ago, a Zoom meeting where everybody, kind of shared what they were thinking, and we're going to come up with a schedule that is sort of complementary of what each department is doing, so we don't, we're not showing two similar programs at the same time or whatever. So there's a lot going on, and I don't know, I think like Lisa said, there's just a lot of good work that's being done. And that's it.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Any questions for Karen?
This is Laurel. I just have a comment because I'm amazed at all that you're doing. Could you do a weekly email to all the library card registrants announcing, focusing on 2 or 3 new services like that?
Sure.
I think that would really get the word out. And of course, include council members and the town manager.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Diane, this is Judy.
Go ahead, Judy.
Can I speak to either Karen or Lisa at some point to find out how to watch Acorn TV? Would that be through my library card?
Yeah, you can do that after the meeting. You can talk to
them.
Oh,
absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And
Great.
Thank everyone for all they're doing. I'm very proud.
Hi, this is Anna.
Hi, Anna. Go ahead.
Hi, Anna.
So I'm just going to ask everybody to put themselves on mute because I'm sitting here muted and I'm hearing background noise. It sounds like somebody's shuffling something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a little distracting.
It could be Gail's typing.
I think it's Gail typing and she can't help it, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it is me.
Because it sounds like, it sounds like keystrokes.
Never mind.
That's me. Sorry.
Never mind.
Okay. So if anybody else has a question for Karen? No, again, Karen, our thanks to you and the staff. I think you guys have been doing a wonderful job trying to get things out. I like Laurel's suggestion to get the word out to more folks. I think that's important for them to figure out what's happening and what's going on. Thank you. And then I did get an email from Kim Rada with Friends of the Library. She's not here tonight, and they are not having a meeting. They don't have the Zoom meeting things set up for themselves to go through that, and they're going to try to reschedule and figure out what they're going to do with their annual meeting. So our liaisons do not have a meeting to go to this week, and they'll get in touch with us, and I'll certainly share the information when they get their feet underneath them in terms of how they're going to have meetings or what they're going to do for an annual meeting. Okay. Committee reports. We'll move into budget with Maureen.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Well, Dave and Lisa made my report very easy.
I'm sorry, Maureen. I didn't mean to take your thunder.
No, that's no thunder stolen. It's just you've made it easy. Dave reported that things are status quo with our original submission of the operating budget. And you talked about the very difficult subject of, possible cuts. And there's, it's all over but the shouting, I guess. So there's nothing we can do but hope for the best. Hopefully the 30% will never see the light of day. And again, at the risk of being so very redundant, but so sincere, thank you, Lisa and Karen and all the staff for the very, very hard and difficult decisions that you have all made with that 30% cut, as well as everything you're doing on a daily basis. I'm just so, I talked about Berlin because I have a very dear friend who works for the Berlin Library. So I get their information, and certainly they're doing their thing. But as far as I can tell, nobody in the area has done what Newington has done and continues to do. So thank you.
Welcome.
Any questions for Maureen from anyone on the budget? No? Thank you, Maureen. Next, we'll move in. I'm sorry, is there a question?
No, I said you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, next up is PEP, Planning, Evaluation, and Policy with Laurel Goodgen.
Yes, thank you. You've all received a copy of the art exhibit policy. This is a revision of the existing policy. Lisa Maston and I worked on this a lot, and I sent you later 4 forms that have always accompanied this policy. They're not really changes to the policy, so these are just things that the exhibitor is asked to fill out. So I would welcome any questions about the art exhibit policy, and Lisa would be the best person to answer these questions.
Are there any questions on the policy?
Oh, none for me. No.
Okay,
I
I
have
do. Go ahead. Who has a question?
It's Anna.
Hi, Anna.
I was just wondering what the driving force behind this is.
I'm sorry?
What is the driving force behind bringing this up again for the revision?
Thank you. Okay.
I would say that the reason why we did it was we actually ended up combining 2 different things into one policy. The exhibiting procedures and policies, we combined that with, there were 2 different policies that we had, and we wanted to have them in one place so that when someone approaches us to exhibit or we are talking to somebody else, all the information is in one document. So that was really the reason we did that. And it was kind of necessary to make some tweaks to it just because it hadn't been looked at in a while. And, things come up when people exhibit and you don't necessarily think about them until they get that question. We didn't have like a reconsideration for art material form like we do with books. We didn't actually have one. And then also, we have had a few problems sometimes with artists who exhibit all over the place. Like they take every available piece of furniture, for example. So we just wanted to add things, have things in writing and have it all in one place. So all the forms are in one place now, and the policy was combined and cleaned up.
And another thing we did was try to arrange the points in the policy in chronological order as
Right.
the exhibitor would deal with them.
Super. Any other questions on this policy?
It's Anna, just one more question. In the email that we got from Lynn with the attachments, I'm just one, there was a comment about that copies were going to be mailed to us. Is that true?
The copies of the, not the ARDA policies, you got those, you got the email on that. She was talking about the chapters 2 and 3 for your ACLB, and that, I don't know if you got them today, that they didn't pick up our mail on Thursday and Friday, so I dropped them off at the post office Saturday.
I did not get mine.
Okay, so there, you probably will get your packet tomorrow. So we put a print copy of the summary of the expansion report that I talked about, and then chapters 2 and 3 of the ACLB, and we punched holes so you can put them in your binder.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Judy.
This
I'm
is
sorry,
Diane.
Lisa, this is Gail. What did you say? The chapter 2 and 3, and what was the other thing you said that was sent in the packet?
It was the summary of the space needs assessment.
Okay,
that
that's
I had
right,
done
that's right.
before. Yeah, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. And this is Diane. I just noticed when I was reading through it that there's a small typo. It's in section 11 under sales. And instead of saying right in room, it's right tin, as in a metal,
Okay.
right tin room.
Which
So,
page is that on, please?
section 11 sales. I didn't print it out. It's down on the
Okay, thank you.
bottom.
And Pauline also made a correction. Just a minute. Shucks. I think that's the correction she made. She called me today. I'm a very good proofreader. Thank you very much. Yes, it's the same point. Number 11.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, great. So are we at the point where we want to vote on these proposed changes, or do we wait for the next meeting?
Well, I was just rereading the ACLB manual, and what you have done in the past, what we have done this year is we look at the policy at one meeting and then we vote on it the next meeting, and that gives the members of the board some time to ruminate over it.
This is Anna. I would like to request that we vote on it at the next meeting, because when I received this, I didn't have enough background information. So I didn't know what to compare it to.
Okay, very good. So we'll put that on the agenda for next month's meeting to vote on.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions on the art exhibit policy? All right, hearing none, we'll go on to the discussions of chapter 2 of the ACLB trustee manual. Laurel?
Yes, and I think we've already discussed chapter 2. So it's chapter 3 that we're ready for now. And
Okay.
that's the legal responsibilities of the board. And I think we do very well looking at the ACLB recommendations. We have an ethics policy, for example. The library board is part of the town structure. The board reports to the town council, and the library director reports to the town manager, but there is also a relationship between the library board and the library director. If you look at the town organization chart, it's a dotted line, but it's a very important relationship.
That's right. The director reports to both the town manager and the board of trustees.
Right. And I think it's a very important point that is made in the ACLB manual that the library board does not meet without the library director. I think that's a very important point. And another important point in the ACLB manual is that comments or complaints that the public makes or the staff makes to board members are to be referred to the library director. Those are for the library director to respond to. And then the director may bring them to the board, but it's the director's responsibility. And I know sometimes people will know that you're on the library board and they'll want to share information with you about their feelings. That's very helpful information for you to share with the library director. Another good point in the ACLB manual is their coverage of the Freedom of Information Act. It's often a big surprise to people that library board meetings are public meetings and that the minutes of those meetings are available to the public. And Connecticut is a big leader in freedom of information, and I think it's wonderful that the library board is so compliant with FOI regulations. But one difference with freedom of information is that we do not share library borrower information. And that can be a surprise to people. When I was a library director, I've had police officers come in and want to know what somebody borrowed. And that information is private. It is not shared with the public. And it might be nice to know what your neighbor's reading because you'd like to read it too, but that is private information. And sometimes that's a surprise to people. So I was glad to see that that's included in the ACLB manual.
Laurel, this is Maureen. Wasn't there some question about that policy several years ago with the Patriot Act?
Yes, you're right. Those people were subpoenaed, and this was 5 library directors. And it was the FBI, as I remember, that was pursuing them. And they were very frightened for quite a while that they were going to go to jail, but they did not reveal the information. Under the Patriot Act, people wanted to get into the shared computer base, which would reveal what people borrowed. And these people stood firm on that and did not allow that to happen. I was very proud of those librarians. It's a pretty scary position to be put into. They were looking for people looking for, particular how to make bombs or things like that.
Weren't there Connecticut librarians involved?
Oh yes, all 5.
They were all connected. Yeah.
They were all connected to our shared computer database. It was the managing director of Success, as I still remember it, our computer database, the director of the Portland Library, help me out, the director of the Library.
Glastonbury
Library.
Portland.
Yeah. What do you want to add to that, Lisa?
I can't remember I can remember 3 of the people, but I can't remember who the other 2, and I should know that, but I forgot. Just that when that happened to them, they weren't allowed to tell anybody that it was happening to them,
including their married partners.
Right. You couldn't speak to anybody about it, so it was very scary at the time.
Finally, the ACLU provided legal counsel for them.
Yes.
And eventually the charge was dismissed, but it was a very scary period.
You can imagine. It's good that the privacy won out.
Yes. It was sort of harking back to the 50s, remember, and the Red Scare?
Yeah. McCarthy.
Yeah. So those were the points that stood out to me when I reviewed Chapter 3. I wondered if any board members had any questions or comments about Chapter 3 in the manual.
This is Anna.
Yes?
I don't have a question about Chapter 3. I I just happened to review chapter 2 and 3 because they were on the agenda.
Sure. Go on.
I have a question on chapter 2 in the bylaws.
Yes.
There was a list of bullet items of things that should be in our bylaws, and I'm wondering if I didn't take the time, but I'm wondering, Laurel, if you took the time to look at that bullet list and compare it to Lucy Robbins Wells bylaws to see if we hit all those points.
Yes, I'm planning to do that because I did notice that the bylaws hadn't been reviewed for 5 years. So it's probably time that we do look at the bylaws again. Usually the recommendation is to look at policies every 3 years. And I'm hoping that the PEP committee can get all of our policies on a rotating basis. So it's just always helpful. And I will put that on the PEP list. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Laurel.
Any other comments? Thank you. I'm finding it very helpful myself to be going through their manual. I think they did a really good job on it.
They did, and it's nice not to have to reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Laurel. Next up, Investment Committee, Neil Ryan.
Yes, I sent out the report yesterday via email to everyone. If you looked at it, you'll notice that April was a good month for the for our account, for our fund. We we're up $33,358 for the month of April. Through April 30th, our account value is worth $627,790.37. That's as of April 30th. So you see, we're down for the year, but not by a lot. And that's where we're at. And we got a bad, very bad March, April. May is off to a pretty even start. So that's where we're at. Any questions? Anything?
Anyone have questions for Neil?
This is Leann. Only comment I have is I've been on the phone with Dean a couple of times regarding various things, getting reports. He's definitely monitoring things. I again, can't say enough about having somebody who's watching our backs for us like he is.
Oh, he's been tremendous. Absolutely. Very
Super.
fortunate.
Well, I think we all expected the dip, but it sure is nice to see it changing direction and start to rise again.
It's good if you can have a long-term view. It's hard to do when you see, the sea of red week after week after week, but really good investors look out like 3 to 5 years or even like 5 to 10 years. I can't do it myself, but really good investors, that's how they do it. And I mean, it boggles my mind, but like I say, it's it will come back.
We're in good shape. Thank you, Neil. House Committee, Laurel Goodgen.
Yes, well, I haven't been in the house for a while, so I'm going to turn this over to Lisa, and she can tell us what's happening in the library physically.
Okay, so Dave Brown, who's our maintenance tech guy, who works a few hours a day, he has been working on the list that was put together when we did the walkthrough with the board. And recently he's been doing a lot of paint touch-up around the building, which is nice. And he's replaced ceiling tiles or touched up ceiling tiles and stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff he's been working on. And the other thing I did want to add is we did talk to someone about reupholstering the bench seat today. I talked to him late in the day today, and so he's giving us a quote, and we have the material picked out. So I think we're going to be able to order that soon and get that taken care of. We did get a delivery date finally for the new shelving, which is going to be I think it's next week on the 21st.
And all of that is the children's area.
This is the children's area. Yes,
correct. Yes. So the shelving will be installed. We had the the town facility guys were in today, and they took out the part of the bench seating that we're not going to use anymore. So we have to patch the wall, and we're going to repaint areas of it. They're going to install the new shelving next week, and then we're going to get the bench seat that's remaining reupholstered.
Lisa, this is
So that's
Leann.
where we are.
You'll give me a heads up when you get the, when that order for the shelving is complete, and I'll come get the invoice, yes? Or you can email to me?
Yes.
Thank you.
I will. I'll make sure Lynn knows that, okay?
Super. I like to hear that we're making good use of the open space that we suddenly have there. This kind of ties into facility and site, but any problems with the sidewalk closed?
No, we haven't had any complaints or anything like that. Nothing.
Okay,
Nope.
I saw a couple of people cutting through the sundial garden the other day.
I'm sure they're going to. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to, because I don't think they realize until they get to a certain point, probably, that it's closed.
Right. Okay.
Anna, in reading Lisa's report, she talked a little bit about the roof repair. Can you go into a little bit more detail about that?
So the repair that was done, or I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, you talked.
We had the.
Yeah, your report talked about the roof was repaired, so I'm just wondering.
The roof was, they replaced the roof in the back of the building, the side that faces the Hart Street neighbors. So that whole part of the roof was actually replaced, because that's where we had some major leaks recently. But we still are having some problems on the roof that is over where the staff entrance is. That whole roof there, if you look, you'll see shingles have fallen, and they also have fallen towards the front of the building. And that's a concern more, that a few times they've fallen when people are walking up the ramp. But we have had some leaks. When we had that really bad rain, 2 weeks ago maybe, we did have a couple leaks that we've never had before in that general area. So the town manager is aware of that as well. That, I think they're looking to see what the cost would be to repair some of that. And that's
Thanks
all
for
I
the
have.
extra detail, Lisa.
Yep.
Any other questions regarding house? No. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Laurel. Facility and site, Maureen.
Hello again. Lisa sent everybody the updated space needs, assessment and space needs, bouncing off of the 2016 report. It's very complete, and it covers everything that we need. But unfortunately, I don't think we can do anything about it right now. What we just discussed with the roof repair in the back, obviously, if you have leaks, those things need to be tended to. Now, with new leaks being discovered and tiles falling, they're going to have to be fixed. But this goes back to our forever discussion about Band-Aids. So I know that we can't do anything now. I think we have everything in place for when we're allowed to expand. The heartening thing, I think, is that work has not stopped across the state. Southington has been approved for an addition, by the town, by the library. They received, Lisa, I think, was it $1 million grant from the state? So
Right.
So there's still, those things are happening, not as quickly as people would like it to, but people aren't just waiting for things to change. So hopefully we'll be next in line at some point. Because other libraries are getting things done. I think, was it Glastonbury or East Hartford are having changes or expansions. So we have everything in place. I think obviously the next step would be to get a go-ahead, hire an architect and go to town. And that's all we can do.
That's right.
And Lisa, you spoke about the walkway.
Right.
Now, what about that construction fence? I see that's another part of the agenda, but
The construction, they moved the construction fence, so it blocks off, the sidewalk when you kind of get close to where the front of the building, the entrance to the library, down to Cedar Street. So you really you cannot cross Cedar Street from
And
that
come into-
part of the
right.
sidewalk anymore.
is there any signage to that effect?
The fencing is up and it said sidewalk closed when I went by to look at it. So there is no sidewalk access between the library and the town hall from Cedar Street to Garfield. So if you're walking and thought you'd go to the park, you have to cut through our garden or cut through the back,
Right.
The back lawns that we just had all redone to get there. So we're hoping that they can get the Mazzicoli way opened, or at least that part of the sidewalk closest to Cedar Street. So even if we had that partially open so people could walk in front of the building and then get up to the parking lot, that would, allow people safe access back and forth. But I know they've got to do whatever they can do over there in the Mazzicoli way, which is why they closed it off. Sorry, that was Diane.
Yes.
Yeah, I know,
This is Leann. Do we have a timeline? Has that changed at all in terms of when they anticipate that we'll be back with a sidewalk?
They didn't give us a finished date when they first informed us of the closing.
Okay.
But the construction is ongoing with the town hall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay.
Diane?
Yes.
Diane, this is Judy. I'm going to have to say good evening.
Okay. Thank you, Judy.
Okay. It's good to hear everyone's voice, and I hope everyone stays healthy and safe.
You too, Judy.
care.
Thank you, Judy. You
Thank
too.
you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Any other questions for facility and site? No? Okay. Fund development, Anna Eddy.
There's no report today.
Thank you. Nominations, Maureen Lyons.
Okay, you all got the email with the nomination form and the director's list?
Yes.
Same old drill. Please fill out the form and get it back to me. Some of you have already sent them.
Some people are new, so if you could go into more detail.
Right, at the annual meeting, we elect a new slate of officers, and we announce the board of directors, makeup. So people have terms that are expiring. We're asking them if they wish to continue as board members. And then obviously, if not, we have open spots. So essentially, we're asking that you fill out the form, indicate that you'd like to stay on the board, indicate your choice of committee assignments. And I know from past years, many past years, that people are assigned what they're requesting. There's no school marm pointing you in directions you don't want to be in. So if you indicate which committees you'd like to be on, if you wish to chair a committee, if you're an existing chair, if you would wish to stay or step down, all that information, just, they're check boxes, but certainly you can make notes. You send it back to me, and then those decisions are made usually over the summer. And just a reminder, and I did put that in the email, that elected officers must be corporate members. And that would be the president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. Does Anybody have any questions?
This is Diane. I don't have a question. I'd just like to clarify a few things. It's very helpful when we're making up committees, if when you check off the committees you're interested in, if you, really pay attention to the first, second, and third choice, because sometimes I get a lot of people, or we have gotten, many people interested in one committee and not so many people interested in the other committees. And while there's no coercion, there is some begging that sometimes goes on. So if you have any kind of interest, or if you
A
can
polite term.
make sure that you, indicate your first choice as opposed to your second choice, that's helpful.
And remember, everybody is on the race committee.
That's right. Any questions regarding the nominations and the time frame? We'd like to get those back by the end of May to Maureen.
All good.
Okay.
Thank you all. I look forward to your returns.
All right. And it looks like the construction fence update, I kind of jumped ahead, and I'm unaware of any dates for completion. So if no one else has information on that, we'll move ahead to communications with Iris. Iris, are you there? Iris, you're muted. James, can you unmute her?
I'm trying.
Okay.
I think I did it.
There we go.
Yep, there you go. Thank you, Iris.
I have not done an awful lot. I still would like very much to have NBC do a blurb. I don't know, it wouldn't have to be long, but I think it would be a great PR thing for our library to have something of substance put into NCTV explaining all the good things about our library. Maybe have some a couple patron interviews, maybe have Lisa say a few words, maybe have Dr. say a couple of words about the library, maybe have someone say something about the Friends. I think it would be a good PR. My only suggestion at this point.
Okay. Iris, have you called any meetings with your committee to try and sketch together an outline or
Nope.
procedure or whatever?
No,
Okay,
I haven't.
that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be, but I'm waiting until all this disease threat has kind of lessened, because I hate to admit it, but I'm at the vulnerable age that if I got it, I'd be in bad shape. So
Okay.
I've been very careful about where I've gone and what I do.
If you want to set up a meeting and you need to just have a conference call, let me know and I can
Yeah.
probably set up
Yeah.
a bridge for you guys.
Okay.
Iris, this is Maureen.
Yeah.
Laurel had mentioned earlier, and it was a great suggestion, about sending like an email to the patrons delineating all the things that the library continues to do, even though we're closed. And not everybody has email, I'm imagining. I'm wondering if perhaps a letter to the editor or an article, reaching out to the news folks and putting that in print form as well would be
Okay,
beneficial.
so maybe those that are on my committee, I could email you back and forth, and we could pick out some suggestions and get some stuff into the media so that people would know about us.
That's great. We did get some recent good publicity from, well, I saw it in the New Britain Herald in terms of what we were doing with some of the digital things and the online things that were going out. But, yesterday's news is just that. So if we can keep that
right.
stuff going up in front of folks, that would be great.
Yeah, this is totally aside, but I just had a text message from my daughter, and she said that Jack Prestige had died. Is that Peggy Prestage's son, who's been on?
Yes, it is. Iris, it is. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I need to send a card or something from the board.
Yeah, it was
That
just,
would
it
be
was
nice.
just, Iris, it was, she used to be she's a former staff member, a longtime staff member, and it was just posted today that her son passed away on Saturday.
Yeah, I think he was I don't know whether he was a year or two ahead of my daughter, but I know she just texted me about it.
Yeah, yep.
So,
Well-
thank you, Iris. That would be nice if you could send a card from the board.
All right, I'll do that. Does anyone know what it's not
Yeah,
the place.
Iris, I'll email you Peggy's address tomorrow.
Super, great.
Thank you.
Was it COVID-19 related?
No, it was not.
No.
Good. Well, good,
Okay.
you know.
Thank you. I'm going to move on. I don't want to have too much private conversation on a recorded call.
No, I understand, no problem.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for asking. Any questions for Iris regarding communications? No? Thank you. All right, old business, open board positions. We still have a Republican Town Committee position that is open. Does anybody have any names or thoughts that we could bring forward to the committee, the Republican Town Committee, for consideration?
This is Anna. I don't have any names. I just wanted to update you that I did send a follow-up email to our representative over at the Greater Hartford Leadership Group, reminding her that she offered to go through their database for us.
Great.
But I haven't heard back yet.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else on the open board position?
Are you on mute?
Hopefully they are now. Okay, Town of Newington 150th anniversary. Does anybody have any news or input on that? It's gotten very quiet. James, is everyone on mute?
This is Leann. This is Leann. I haven't heard anything on the 150th. I'm not aware that they've met.
Okay, I'll ask the town councilors towards the end. Well, Chris or Dave, do you know if anything's going on with that or if everybody's been focused on the COVID issues?
As far as I know, there's been, the focus has been on COVID, and I have not heard anything on the 150th.
Okay, all right, understandable. It's a new world out there.
Diane,
Okay, thank you.
Diane,
Yes, go ahead.
that would be correct. I got a call from Eileen Francolino. She's the chairperson. She actually did not choose to hold a meeting this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, James. Hanel events for 2020. Isn't that interesting? I believe at this point, everything has been suspended. Is that true, Anna or Lisa or Karen? I know that.
It's Anna. No, they haven't been suspended. During the past month, we've reached out to both potential performers. The one for October was Wanda Houston, who's up in the Berkshires. And based on what's going to be happening in October, I mean, she's willing to put it on her calendar, and we're taking a wait and see attitude. And I know that we exchanged a contract with the performer for December, and you know, it's the same thing. We just, I think everybody's willing to be flexible.
Okay. So it's all wait and see, but we don't have any Hanel events scheduled until October at this point.
That's correct. And we do not have an annual meeting speaker lined up because September just seemed way too close. I think we agreed on that last month.
Yeah, too dicey. We didn't know.
This is Leann, just for the record, no deposits have been made for either one of the programs, just so there's nothing outlaid so far.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any comments on the Hanel events? Okay, hearing none, we'll go into new business. The library road race, again, it was going to be this weekend, but our new date is now Sunday, October 4th. We did send out letters to those who had registered, and we also sent out letters to our sponsors last month. Lisa, did any of the sponsors respond to you from the letters that were sent out?
I had a couple that just thanked me for letting them know, and no one said that they wanted a refund or anything like that. They just were happy that, we let them know either way, so.
What was going on? Good.
Yeah, so everybody, just a few responses that way, but I didn't get any responses from the majority of them.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions about the road race?
Leann?
right.
Leann, this is Maureen. Are you getting mail from the library, or do you want us, for instance, to send our trustee contributions to your home address?
If you put it through the library, I'm picking up probably once. Well, I'm in communication with the office, and then I pick up once a week or so. That because they keep track of things as well. So we that I'd like to keep them in the loop as well. So we can keep it on the same track. I pick it up and take it home and process it. There hasn't been a lot, obviously. I do have one other thing in terms of, well, I guess it's new business, just so more of an informational. The Waterfall Festival is scheduled still for the third Saturday of September. But there has been a change. Teresa Reynolds has been our chair for the last few years. And she is very quickly, she notified me about 3 weeks ago that she's got her house on the market and she's moving, and she may have already moved by now. It was very quick. So she has met with the chamber, and they've got someone on staff there who's going to be taking on the chair position. So the chamber is going to be more intimately involved with the organization of the Waterfall Festival. So I know that the Friends usually has a table, and we were talking about doing, some registration perhaps there. Obviously, there's been no meetings, but there has been a little bit of change in leadership, and I wanted you to be aware.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments under new business? No, thank you. Public participation. James, do we have anyone out there?
I show one individual, last four digits are 944. If they'd like to speak, they can either hit *9 on their phone or use the raise their hand at the bottom of the participants window. I will say sometimes we have been having problems with the app. Would you like me to just unmute them and see if they would like to speak?
Yes, please.
Okay. Phone number ending in 944. You're all set?
All set, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, is there anyone else out there in the public world? James, give it a last look.
Nobody else left in our attendees.
Okay, town councilors, anything to add after going through the meeting?
Not really.
All right, thank you. Then I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So move. Dana.
Second?
Chris. Second it.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Our meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone. We'll probably be doing it in this format again next month, so be ready.
Okay.
Diane.
And,
Diane.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
and Paul, I want to thank you very much for your help.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Bye.
Thank you, Diane.
Yep.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
James. Thanks, Paul.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Right.